Welcome to Emotional Support Water Bottle with Hannah and Ailish.
Sorry, my cat just knocked over something. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish. I see you.
I just wanted to show. I wanted to show everybody Zombie got a little.
Oh my gosh, he's so handsome.
And he's shaking like a leaf.
I can see him shaking. You gotta put his sweater back on.
I know, getting a haircut is very traumatizing for him, so I'll just stick him.
Look at his.
I could probably put him in my sweatshirt on. What?
His cute bow tie.
I know, that's actually his Christmas one. But that's his nicest one, so I went ahead and put it on him.
You literally put it.
Now he'll be nice and cozy.
Oh, he literally will be so quiet this entire time.
I know. This is everything he's ever wanted.
I know.
He's probably going to pee on me.
He won't be able to control himself.
Look at him. He's about to fall asleep.
Literally, he's so cozy.
He's never been happier.
That's so funny.
Anyway.
Look, he looks cute.
Yeah, it looks a lot nicer.
That spring cut.
Anyway.
Well, we have a lot to discuss with the Oscars.
Yeah. What did you think overall?
Overall, I thought it was too long, honestly. It was.
I know. I definitely kind of went in and out after a while. I was like, okay, I'm still paying attention to the main stuff, but I was like, it was losing my interest a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, 3 hours and 45 minutes, that's a really long time. I can't imagine having to sit through that either. I mean, that's crazy.
I know. And then you brought up the fact too that the people like getting on the red carpet like 2 hours.
Yes.
You're there all day.
And I know for because it's in California, so they're 3 hours earlier than we are, or later, I guess, than we are. But would you say earlier or later? I don't know how.
I think it's earlier.
Yeah, right? Is that how you would say it? Because they're behind us in hours.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It doesn't matter. People know what we mean. But so I know it's like not like it's super late when they're getting out of there. Like for us, it was like, 11. But for them, it's not that late. But still, like that's a long time.
I know, to sit in a theater seats and gowns.
I know. And I don't think that they have any food there.
I know, I don't really understand that. And then I saw what's his name from the town said they had like little baskets under their seats of like candy and stuff, but
oh, thanks. Some disgusting dots to keep me going.
Yeah, I don't know how any of that works because they aren't because don't they feed them at like the Golden Globes and stuff, or am I making that up?
Yeah, I think that they do.
Or maybe you can get like appetizers or hors d'oeuvres when you're like get up and walk around.
Yeah, and a lot of people go to the bar. Maybe they have stuff at the bar.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a really long time.
It's a long time.
But other than that, I mean, overall, I thought Conan O'Brien did a fine job. I don't know. I've never really thought any of the late night hosts were like super funny, but he was fine. Like I didn't have a complaint about him.
Yeah, it was fine. He's not my favorite late night person, but and I feel like they were still kind of trying to keep it like not as political or like too mean because of just what happened with all the fires and stuff. Like I feel like the
Yeah,
Grammys was kind of like that too, where it was just kind of we're not gonna do anything weird. Like we're still a little somber. But I
yeah.
will say at the beginning, my son was out here, and when they did the substance thing, like, I thought that was funny, but I mean, I was like, "How graphic are they gonna get with this?" And then my son was starting to get nervous because he's just nervous of blood and stuff, and I'm like, he's just pretending, like."
I know. I kind of, well, and I saw somebody say too, they're like, wow, what whiplash to go from beautiful Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande to Conan climbing out of Demi Moore's back. Like,
It was, I was like, "Whoa," and I mean, it wasn't, like, bloody graphic, but I mean, it was, like, a little
yeah,
intense. I mean, it was funny, I just wasn't expecting it at all.
no, me either. I wasn't. I mean, we kind of talked privately about the whole like Wicked thing, but I thought that their performance at the beginning was good. I mean, I don't we don't have to say anything about the quality of their singing. Obviously, they're insanely talented. But I was kind of like, okay, the Academy is really trying to rake in the viewers with having them open up the show like that, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, I cried the whole performance,
Did
but
you
I
really?
was just weeping. I know, I, like, couldn't stop it. I was just weepy, weepy, weepy.
Oh my
But
gosh.
I do think it was kind of I mean, it was cool that they did it just because that was, like, a movie nominated, but I would have we didn't really get that many musical performances. Like, that was basically it, and, it was kind of like a strong opening, and then to not really get anything else besides the James Bond thing
Well, because
was
they
kinda
changed
weird.
it where, like, literally for Wicked, they took away the performances of all the original song, and I kind of
Mm,
I mean, I don't need it to be a full-on musical award show because that isn't what it
right.
is, but I did enjoy to see those live performances of
I
the original.
know. Yeah, like having Adele and Billie Eilish, like, singing these beautiful songs, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I missed that, and then we just barely got any of it.
I know, and thinking about last year too, when Ryan Gosling did
Yeah, that
was
was so
10.
fun.
Yeah, like what a fun performance that was, and it's I don't know, I think that just added to like it makes you also remember the movies of the year too because
Yeah.
it kind of brings you back into it. But I did not like the James Bond thing. I thought that whole thing, like, not that they sounded horrible. I just thought it was weird. Like, it
Well,
went on really
w
long.
it did end up I was like, "Oh, well, this is nice," and I'm like, "Okay, Doja Cat," and then it was like, "Okay, we'll do one more."
You know?
I'm like, "Okay." I would have loved to have had a maybe there's, like, a scheduling conflict, but Adele come back and sing that song.
I
I was
know.
like, "What?" I would have friggin' jaw on the ground if they would
Me
have had, like, a
too.
secret but I mean, yeah, everybody sounded good, but I'm like, "Okay, okay,
Well,
okay."
I looked because I didn't know like why these 3 were selected. Like I couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
And I think that they all have a song together right now.
Oh.
But how does that connect to Amazon taking over rights of James Bond and James Bond in general? I have no idea. Like the only thing I could think through that whole performance was, okay, they're setting up Margaret Qualley to be a Bond girl, and
Right.
then are these going to be like the new singers of the new Bond franchise? But we don't even know that there's a new movie coming out. Like it was so weird.
It was, and wasn't it like a while ago they were talking about the new who is gonna be casted as the new James Bond, but then I've never heard anything since.
Yeah, there wasn't an announcement or anything. Like, it didn't even make
Right.
sense.
No.
So that was the only thing. And especially since it had gone, like at that point, we had sat through a lot of the award show. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, now we've got like what felt like 10 minutes of this weird performance.
I know, I wish they woulda did some kinda, like, mashup of, I don't know, different people from the other movies and stuff since they did, like, Margaret Qualley, like, it would've been fun if they woulda did, like, all the supporting actresses, even though she wasn't nominated or whatever, but it just woulda been, like, I don't know, like, more pertaining to what was going on.
Yeah, and I like when at first I thought, oh, maybe they're gonna bring out other previous Bond girls and they're gonna
Yeah.
be, but
No. She
no.
was one of them was there!
I know.
Didn't even use her. I
Like,
would've been insulted if I was her.
and why were they dancing? Like, that's not a
Mhm.
big thing in Bond, right?
I don't know. That's one of those movies I reject because my stepdad likes them, so I
I
can't
don't
watch
watch
them.
them either. Like, I don't think I've ever seen one all the way through, so maybe they always
No,
have
just
a
bits and
good
pieces.
number, I don't know. But, yeah, and then the one super cringy part was when that what's that song called? The Owl Mal or whatever for Amelia Perez won the original song. I think like snapped you about it. Like I could not I was literally like, "Oh my god. Like this is
I know.
horrible."
I know, I was scared.
I know. It kind of was it was a little scary, like, I didn't know
I
what
know
was
it was
going
like,
on,
yeah, I was like, "Oh," and then it kept going.
and they didn't play them off quick enough. What the heck was going on there?
I know, it was awkward, and then the guys started singing a little bit with her.
It was that was just bizarre. I saw a TikTok, and if somebody was saying, like, "Oh, that this sound haunts me in my dreams." That woman singing. Like, it almost did have a ghostly quality.
I know, it was scary. I felt like maybe she had a little to drink or something, I don't know.
Maybe. Maybe
Maybe
she
she
was
was mad they weren't playing those songs, so she's like, "Fine, I'll do it."
maybe. And then I felt bad. I don't maybe that other guy that was with them didn't want to talk, but like they totally made it so
I
he couldn't
know,
speak at all.
I know, and then they got shooed away, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, bye."
And that happened on another award too. I can't remember which one where they played him off. It was one of the smaller
I
you
know.
know, like lesser known or whatever. And he didn't even get to talk. I'm like, that's their, like, that is just not fair. And then you have Adrian Brody, who, okay, yeah, you won for Best Actor, but it's not fair that you get to go up there and talk for as long as you want. And people respect you when you say, don't play the music and they stop it. Like these other people with the documentaries or the like you know, best sound. Like they might not ever get another chance to be at a show like this, let alone
I know.
win.
Has that always been the rule, 20 seconds?
I
Because
don't
they kept
know.
bringing it up this time, and I've never noticed them do that before.
Me either. I mean, I know that there is a time
Timed.
limit, but I have
Right.
no idea what it
I
was.
know.
20 seconds is
Me either.
nothing.
What?
20 seconds is nothing.
I know, you can't even thank you'd have to be like, "Thank you to my friends and family. Thank you to everyone who worked on this movie. Thank you to my management. Bye." That's
Yeah,
probably 20 seconds. I should have timed it.
I
Thanks
and
to the Academy.
and add being so shocked and flustered. And they
Um,
who was it? Was it Kieran Culkin when he got up there, or somebody, maybe it wasn't him, I can't remember. And they were like, "Oh, the time already started." It's like, what if
Yeah.
they start it when they get up out of their seat? They're like, click, like,
Like, you better get up there. Yeah,
yeah,
that's it. They must have changed something or like emphasized it this year or something because it just was brought up too many times for
yeah.
that.
But that's what is just so frustrating. Like, I mean, I know that Conan O'Brien's song, like "I Won't Waste Time," was like a bit, you know,
Right.
but we didn't necessarily need that because he already had done a whole monologue. And then
I
we
know.
didn't need the long James Bond thing. Like,
I
it's
know.
like
I would have liked to hear people talk more than some of that.
me too. So that was just kind of, I don't know, if that were me and I had won, I would feel very, I don't know, like a little disappointed, you know?
Same. And I loved what they did for the costume design where they had all the people standing up there and like those drawings, like the sketches. I'm like, that was so cool.
I did like that. And Bowen Yang was funny. That was the
It
funny bit.
was.
Yeah.
It was funny. But yeah, I loved that.
Yeah. It
Um,
looked, it visually, it was really nice.
I know. That was a tough race, honestly.
I know. I thought so too. Oh, did you know that you won in our predictions?
I did not.
You
Just
did. Uh,
okay.
Unbeknownst to either of us, even though we recorded our predictions and obviously made the choices, all of ours were exactly the same, besides
Oh,
one. So the one that was different was the one that you won. So
wow. Oh gosh, we were neck and neck then.
I could have swore that while we were talking about it, we had different choices on some of them.
Well, I think it kinda because I know we kinda, like, talked it out a little bit, but there was almost too many that were, like felt like a definite to just pick something different.
I know,
Even though
yeah.
we were wrong then because Demi Moore didn't win, and then something else, screenplay.
Yeah, we wanted a real pain.
We did.
Yeah, but, so yeah, congratulations. You correctly chose 6 out of the 9 categories that we, made our predictions in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we should have made a bet, and we didn't.
Oh, we should have.
Next year.
Next year, yeah.
What I mean, that was kind of for, like, the ceremony itself, those were kind of the big things. And then, yeah, like you just mentioned, obviously, Demi Moore, she got that ripped from her
I
fingertips.
know. It's like I was actually surprised.
Oh, I was
But she
shocked.
just sweeped I know, and then they were like, "Mikey Madison." I was like, "Oh?"
I know. I felt really bad for Demi because that, I don't want to be negative, but thinking about how her career has been thus far, like that was most likely her only chance for an Oscar.
I know.
And I mean, maybe she'll do more stuff, but like in recent years, she hasn't been doing that much with acting. And then this was like this totally out of the box role for her. And then to get recognized through every other award show, and then the big one comes and it's just right there and it gets
I
taken
know.
away. Oh, I
It's
felt bad.
so I know, and then, of course, they had to, like, pan to her quick. It's like and she seemed fine in my opinion. Of course, you probably wanna cry your freaking eyes out.
Oh yeah.
I saw a bunch of comments that were talking about Sebastian Stan. They're like, "He was definitely gonna be crying tonight."
I mean, that movie, that he probably would have had a better chance at winning in his category had that movie have been more successful.
Yeah.
because and same with Jeremy Strong, because
I know.
I just don't think that that film, like, I don't know who wanted to see it.
I know, that was the tricky part, and remember Sebastian Stan even saying that. It's like, just watch it, you know? I get you don't want to, but
Well, yeah, of course. He's like, I spent all this time trying to get Trump's mannerisms down. Please, for the love of God, watch my movie.
I actually finally saw a clip of him as Trump because 'cause I'm like, I really can't picture him, like, even with the makeup and stuff on, like, looking like him, but I was like, "Oh, it did work."
I agree. I think it was, I don't know if it was just the clip that they showed during the ceremony or if I saw something online, maybe both. But I couldn't I was actually very impressed. I mean, he
I
really
know, I was
did.
intrigued to watch it, like, if it
Mhm.
pops up on a streaming, I might end up watching it just to see his performance.
Now there we go. We're part of the problem. We're
I
not
know.
going to theaters.
I know, I know, I loved, Sean Baker, like, talking about that, but then I was like, "Well, then keep it in theaters long enough for me to make time and plans to
Literally,
go see this stuff." Because
literally.
it's like if you don't go opening weekend, then you just don't see it. It's like, "Well, I would've, but I was busy that weekend," or
Well, and
something.
I'm sorry we don't live in a big metropolitan area that also has a bunch of like niche movie houses. I mean, where we live, we don't get all the smaller film releases, unfortunately. Or
Mhm.
if we do, yeah, like you said, it's for such a short amount of time. You blink and they're gone already.
Yeah,
Like, I
and
would
that's
love
been,
to
like,
go
a
to the movies more.
I know, that's been a huge issue in my opinion, is like, "Oh, if I didn't go then, I'm not seeing it."
Hmm. Well, because even with Honora, I mean, we had talked about that through the whole awards run. We're like, well, we missed our chance to see it, and now we've got to
Mhm.
wait until what is it, March 16th or 17th for it to come out on streaming. It's like I would have loved to have seen that in theater. Like that would have been,
Right.
but and then it didn't. Like we had heard about it, but not that much until award season got going, and then at that point, it was already gone for us.
I know, there's no seeing it.
Yeah,
Did just a sidebar, did you ever watch The Florida Project?
I didn't know.
I did when it came out on Netflix, well, that would have been because I think I
Years
had just had my first child
Yeah, that was years
somewhere
ago.
around yeah, somewhere in that time period. Because I remember I was like, "They can't take our babies from us," but I really liked that movie. And I didn't realize until probably within the last month, I'm like, "Oh, that's the same director." Now I'm more intrigued to see
Well, that got a ton of
more.
traction at the time too.
I know, yeah, I really liked that movie.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still on Netflix. That's been a
I know,
really long.
I wondered that, or if it's on something else now.
Yeah, but I'll definitely watch Honora. I mean, it totally swept. I felt bad for the supporting actor Yuri. I can't remember what his last name is, but he was the only one that didn't win from Honora. They went 5 for 6. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
I know, you poor thing.
I know.
But he's a newbie and, you
Mhm.
know,
What did you
um,
think of Mikey Madison winning over Demi? I mean, I know we neither of us have seen Honora, so it's hard to really give an opinion.
I guess part of me wasn't or like I mean I was shocked, but then I was like, well, they kind of do that though, like the Academy, like let's give this fresh person the award.
Also, they do the opposite too, because like we said last
Yeah, they
week with
won't give it to
Timmy,
you.
yeah, it gets, and then so many people are making the comparison with Timothy Chalamet to Leonardo DiCaprio, where
Hmm.
he didn't get his Oscar for decades, and then he finally got one. for The Revenant, and it's like, oh my god, like why is? But then it does literally seem like then there's some young actors that they have one good role and they're like, yes, give them the award.
There you go. I know
Yeah.
it just really reminds me of like the Jennifer Lawrence in Winter's Bone. It's
Yes.
like comes out of nowhere
Well,
and
Hannah,
gets this
hold on
big
a
award.
second. Hold on. We
Comes out of
know.
nowhere.
We know something else was afoot there.
Something came out of nowhere. Just kidding.
But anyway, yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of there, Georgina Chapman is still floating around in the Oscars ethos. She's attached herself to Adrian Brody. Funny how that works
We
out.
love we love a little clout goblin.
Literally.
Spe Okay, so when he threw his gum, I didn't know that was his gum. I had no idea what he threw at her, and then I was like, "Oh, cool, she caught it." And now knowing that it was his gum, I'm like, "Girl,
I didn't know that either. Swallow the gum, for God's sake.
no, or just put it in your hand." I don't know anything else. That was crazy.
Like, why? I would have been, I mean, it's
That
so
was
like
crazy.
so rude. And then
It is.
she
And did he like say? Did they talk about it beforehand? And he was like, "Okay, so if I get called up there, I'm gonna have to have you take this gum."
or like,
How
I
did she
mean,
know?
not to be like too gross about it, the whole situation's gross, but you couldn't have even done like the classic teenage kiss transfer. Like
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
I know it was so weird. And then he got up there. I guess we could talk about that now, and was just an absolute tool.
I I don't know another
I
word
was like,
for it.
ugh. I
And
know it was just totally rubbed me the wrong way. And then when he's up there saying, "Don't play me off, I've been here before," I was like, ew,
I know.
get off the stage. Who do you think you are? And then I was thinking about the people who lost to him and were probably like, this jerk gets up here and this is his speech in my moment that should have been mine.
And they're like, we've already been here for 3.5 hours, and now he's gonna drag it out even more.
I know, and he was saying an awful lot of nothing.
That's what like I was trying to be optimistic about it and be like, okay, he's got a message here. Like
Right.
it's gonna come. This is gonna be insightful. And it really wasn't. Like it I got the end where he kind of said like, we need to come together or whatever. I'm like, okay, well that's a gimme, we all can. And when he said stuff about like the anti-Semitism and everything, I'm like, okay, yeah. But then when he said like about his career of kind of like being at the bottom and never thinking he could get this, was he referring to the SNL skit? Like I didn't know
No
what he
clue.
was referring to.
I know. I felt like he thought we were all in on or like had been keeping up with him more than what we had been. Like, I don't understand where any of that came from.
I felt like I missed something. I mean, I Googled Adrian Brody's scandal and I'm like, did something happen more recently that I missed? But no, the only thing that came up was that SNL thing from decades ago, but I don't know that that's what stopped him from getting critical acclaimed roles.
I know. Maybe because you seem not that pleasant to work with.
Well, did you listen to the most recent episode of The Town? And Matt Bellany did say he doesn't have the best reputation of being a good guy in the
Wow.
industry. So
Definitely came off that way.
yeah, it was. I did. The only thing I did like was on the red carpet when Halle Berry planted
Yeah.
a kiss on him. I was like, yeah. And then there were so many people, I don't know if you saw this online, that were like, that is so inappropriate. His wife was right there. I'm like, first of all, get your facts straight because they're not married. Second of all, he did that to her up on stage in front of all these people. And it was like, I don't know. I mean, was it inappropriate when he did it? Sure. But it was so like shocking and filled with emotion at the time. Like I don't believe that he meant it in like a like like super
Assaulty.
sexual assault
Yeah.
way. Yeah. And then she was obviously doing it in the same way to like get back at him.
I know, and honestly, that was hilarious of her.
It was
I
all
love
that
that she did
time
that.
later.
I know, she got to get him back, like, that was
I
fun.
loved that.
Same.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about him. And then yeah, you said he just was saying a whole lot of nothing.
I know, it was just so off-putting, and then when he did do that thing where he said to stop the music or whatever, this isn't his first rodeo, and then he, like, couldn't get back into what he was saying for
No.
forever too. It's like, "Okay, just keep going."
He's like, I promise
Ugh.
I won't be egregious with this. Well, you were. You were.
Unfortunately.
I thought it was a little, which I guess this shouldn't be off putting, but I thought it was just a little forward of him, I guess, when he said about Georgina Chapman and Harvey Weinstein's kids. And he's like, oh, Pop Pop's coming home a winner, or whatever he said. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
so you're fully the father figure now. I mean, I know Harvey's in jail, but still,
I know, I thought it's like, "Okay."
like, some men wouldn't be comfortable with you referring yourself as your child's father, but okay.
I know. Yeah, that was weird.
Um,
I feel like there's one other thing I was gonna.
oh, I wanted to say about the Kieran Culkin speech too. I was getting really annoyed again with people online who were saying stuff about him, the story he told about his wife, like saying, oh,
Mhm.
we can have a fourth kid if you win an Oscar. Like that was clearly in jest. Like
I
he's not
know.
forcing his wife to have these children. Like
Mhm.
come on. Like I was just so and she's there like literally dying laughing
I
and
know.
like it was funny. Like I couldn't believe and she
I
probably
know.
wouldn't believe it either.
I know, she didn't think he was gonna win an Oscar, are you joking?
But I thought it was funny and then I saw so many people online that were like that's disgusting.
No, I'm like, stop being mad for her, she clearly wasn't mad.
Yeah, like that's their life. I think it's fine.
Mm. She's really pretty.
Oh my
When I
god,
was looking at her, I was like, "Wow." I
beautiful.
loved her nose ring and her teeth were really cute and cute gal.
I was creeping on her Instagram. Like she is just and she looks
Oh, I
like
should
they're
too.
so genuinely in love.
I know. I know. Does she act or anything, or is she in the biz?
I don't know.
I'll have to look it up later.
Yeah, I really don't know. Jazz. Of course she has a cool name like that.
I know, of course.
A cool girl. But I don't were there any other like moments from the actual show that you
Yeah, I'm trying to like there was one thing I was gonna say, but I can't remember it.
I was gonna mention regarding which I did not watch this. I've just seen some clips. And we had kind of talked about how Hannah Berner and Paige DeSorbo were
Oh
doing
yeah.
the Vanity Fair stuff, and I guess that they were doing, I think it was just the red carpet of the Vanity
Mhm.
Fair party, right?
That's what
And
I'm understand.
yeah, and then I saw, which again, I did not watch any of that. I don't even know where that was being shown, if it was on television
Yeah,
or
I don't know how any of that works or if everything just gets popped up on social media, but then I did see, I think, because I had on, I think it was E just for a little bit of the red carpet, and they said, "Meet us back here for the after party." So I don't know if it was all
oh, maybe
that.
it was on E then.
That's what I'm wondering, but I don't
I
know.
didn't
I didn't know how that worked either.
I also, I mean, before I get to my original point, but I don't even watch any of that anymore. I mean, and I saw some
No.
of the clips of Julianne Hough, and it just looked like a disaster. I'm like, I cannot watch a cringy interviews for 2 hours before an event. Like when it was Juliana Rancic and Ryan Seacrest, they
Yes.
sometimes there were moments that were uncomfortable, but they knew what they were doing.
Because they were trained for that. They weren't just D-list celebrities that we could
Um,
throw out here. Like, why is she asking Timothy Chalamet what his go-to dance move is?
like dumb, so
I
dumb.
know.
It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, with Hannah Berner and Paige DeSorbo, first, the first thing I saw about them was their Amy Poehler interview. And
Mhm.
all that they were doing throughout the whole thing was interrupting Amy Poehler. And
Yes.
I heard that they had done that to other guests as well. Like they would hardly even let them get a word or a thought out before they would be making another comment. And then which I don't have any problem with people who take medication for any type of mental health thing. I think that is very good for people to do. And obviously, if they're prescribed things, then that is, their business between them and a mental health professional or their doctor. But I saw on their Instagram that they're like, oh, we're taking our beta blockers. And
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
saw
like,
that too.
can we please not make
Stop
it
making it
this is,
quirky. Like, that
yeah,
helps people.
I'm just like, this isn't a shtick for you. Like I
No.
just didn't get it. And not to be uh accusatory here, but I almost felt like with some of the way they were acting on the clips I saw, I'm like, well, did you guys take anything else back there, like a few shots or something? Because you were a little off the wall with some of the comments.
I know, and I don't know if they got overwhelmed with the caliber of celebrities that were walking past or what, but I Hannah Berner can be just a bit much.
Well, I've seen a lot of stuff online about her comments to Megan the Stallion, and I
Yeah, I did see
hope
that.
that that comes back to bite her because what are
People
you?
were mad.
And I
Yeah.
because it's also inappropriate. Like you're saying you listen to Megan when you want to fight somebody. Like that's not a compliment.
No.
Like
Not at all. Like, oh, I'm sorry, but I listen to her when I want to be real sassy and like
or when I want to
feel
feel like I'm a badass,
fun.
like
Yeah.
I feel good about myself. I'm listening to Megan
Yeah.
Thee Stallion.
I know. I never get that urge to fight when I listen.
And somebody on TikTok, they're like, wow, to say this to a domestic abuse survivor is crazy. I was like,
Someone who's literally been shot in the foot.
right. I mean, are you serious right now? Like, that's it. And then somebody else in that same comment section said, this is what happens when we have influencers that are acting
Mhm.
as interviewers and reporters. Like, they are not trained for these types of things. Like, clearly, they can barely have normal conversations with somebody. And I get, like, of course, it's overwhelming and it's it's nerve wracking, but that's why you have people that is their job. They are trained to do
Yes.
this.
Stop just throwing these people up there because it just makes them look bad too.
Mhm.
Like, that wasn't a good look for them.
No.
And I mean, I'm sure they'll recover, but it's just, I don't know. Like, let's stop putting these people in front of live cameras when they do podcasts. They don't do live stuff other than like their comedy shows that they prepare for. This
Right.
isn't their thing.
And as far as I am aware, and I don't listen to Giggly Squad, but I don't believe that they do interviews all the time. Like, they don't have guests all the time, right? It's usually just the two of them.
As far as I know,
I mean, I could be off on that, but I thought for the majority of the time it was just them. So that makes it even more challenging for them to go out and on this big stage and interview people. Like,
mhm,
of course you're going to have trouble.
yeah, let's just stop doing that and let reporters be on there. And it's like, even with Juliana and Ryan Seacrest, it's like we got to know them as well, as that is their job.
Yeah.
And it was a lot more tolerable. I don't know. I'm just kind of over the influencers doing it.
Well, and
Unless that's what they want to do and that's where they're leaning into. But some of these influencers are just doing 100 million things, just throwing things at the wall to see what sticks, which is fine, but it's just not working and it's just annoying and it's cringe on the people that are hiring them too. It's like, what are we doing here?
well, it just feels like the whoever's hiring them is like, who's of the moment, who's popular, who
Yeah,
can we get, and they have no regard for who would actually do a good job. They just
right.
care about who's going to get the most traction to, whatever they're trying to promote, and that clearly that isn't like. I mean, I don't know. Like, obviously, there's multiple sides to social media, and because I've watched a couple of the interviews that are maybe skewing a little bit more negatively towards their interview style. Now the whole algorithm is that. So maybe there's
Right.
another side where people are like, they were amazing. But I mean, they're not getting like the best press for that right now.
No. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like this just makes everyone look bad and then it's embarrassing. It's like let's stop doing this or actually try to keep them or train them anything. My goodness.
Yeah. But
It's
that's the
not
thing that we've said too. I mean, and not to act like we're the best ever because obviously we're not. But if we were given an opportunity like that, like we would, I can just imagine us being like, we need to study up. Like, we need
yes.
to eat, sleep, live, breathe this task that we're interviewing these people. Like, we have to pull it together. We have to
No.
do a good job. Like, there's no way we would just be like, okay, we're doing this. All right. Like, let's just go out there and
I
chat
know.
together.
Try right, trying to do a comedy show on the thing and just like winging it. You can't just wing it.
That's
You
what it
can't just
felt
get
like we
by on your
did.
person, right? It's like, yeah, fine, you have a nice personality, but that doesn't translate into journalism. And people literally go to school for
Mhm.
journalism. It's insulting. I'm
There's
sick of it.
plenty of people you could choose,
Yes.
and then to choose two random influencer, podcaster, reality stars, it's like that came out of left field and it was a bad
I know.
choice.
It was.
But anyway, we gave them enough of our airtime here. But yeah, and then just to speak on the fashion, there wasn't anything. I mean, of course there were some that weren't, I didn't care for, but overall, like, I thought that people looked pretty good. I loved Timmy uh suit. He looked great in that yellow. I loved how Jeff Goldblum had his fun suit on as well. He looked awesome. Um the only person that sticks out to me as one that I like really didn't like their look was at the after party, and that was Olivia Wilde. Do you remember
Yeah,
her?
that was interesting. Yeah, I it was a different it was interesting to see that sheer situation, but made it make it bohemian. I
And
was
the
like, well, that's a different take on that.
Yeah, and the thing that really threw me off was the, like, short underwear
Mhm.
situation. Like, it literally looked like this was something that you would wear it, like, as lingerie. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I put these little bloomers on and then this sheer
Mhm.
robe. Like, it didn't translate as an real outfit to me at all.
I know, I wonder what it's like to then be at the party with these people in these sheer outfits, like, "I'm looking at your eyes, I'm looking at your eyes."
I know.
Like, I can't imagine somebody just walking up to me, like, naked.
And you'd get into this party and you're like, "Oh, hi, how are the kids?" Like, you're having
"Oh,
normal
hi, Olivia."
conversation. Like,
Just kind of I mean, I know they're not in reality, but it's
yeah,
just kinda like, I don't even know what I would say.
I know, and then you're
Poor
just oh,
dog.
and then you're just sitting, like, at the tables and as if it's normal.
Eating
Yeah,
eating their In-N-Out burgers.
yeah, oh, cringy.
I know,
That was
but
so,
anyway.
like, 2008.
I know. I'm just so over that shtick of, we're in our, $15,000 gowns with our In-N-Out burger. I'm like, "Ugh,
That we know you're not eating, let's be
I
real.
know. You're just taking the picture. You took 5 bites and threw it in the
Yeah,
trash."
if that. But yeah, I mean, I thought people mostly looked pretty good. There were some that were a
Yeah, I thought
little,
everybody
but for the most
yeah,
part,
I thought everybody looked pretty good. No real complaints. Yeah, some of the after party looks were a little
yeah.
different, but it's the after party.
I was also because there's the three main parties, right? There's the Vanity Fair, there's Elton John's, and then there's Madonna's. And I was just,
Well, and then Beyonce and Jay-Z had
oh
one.
yeah, they did have one. I forgot about that one. Um, but I was just seeing all the red carpet pictures for Vanity Fair, and it really did feel like, okay, all the influencers got the invite to this one. Like all the
Mhm.
random people, because there were so many that I just was kind of confused as to why they got an invitation at all.
I know. Sorry, guys. I know. I thought that was I don't know. What are we doing anymore?
Nothing is, no invite is sacred or exclusive anymore. You know,
I know.
like, come on. How are we not getting invited if these people are getting in the
I know
door?
at this point.
But yeah, so that wraps up awards season. It's been a good run, but it is interesting just when we speak about like the movie industry and kind of the state of things right now. So many of the films that were nominated were smaller films. And
Mhm.
usually, like, we do have bigger blockbuster movies, and especially coming off of last year when we had Barbenheimer, it's like, my goodness gracious, like that was the most Oscar, you know, typical Oscars situation that you would expect. And then this year we had so many smaller films that were in there. So it's just kind of
I
different.
know. Well, nobody was really putting anything out this past year.
And I don't know about 2025 either.
No, because really all I know is the horror stuff and it's just a bunch of sequels,
Hmm.
reboots, sequels. But hopefully we'll end up getting some more trailers this spring for some new stuff.
The thing that gets me is, and we've talked about the trailer stuff in the past, and part of it is our fault that we're not seeking them all out like maybe we used to, or we're not watching like the live commercials on TV anymore. But I mean, a lot of times, like if I see something on like Instagram or Snapchat or something, it'll either be months before the movie is released, or it'll be like in theaters tomorrow. Like I just am either like, oh, this movie is coming out in 2 or 3 months, or it's literally coming out this week. Like I don't feel like there's an in between right now where I know, oh, this is coming out, next month. Like I'm gonna have to plan to go see that.
I know. It just feels really all over the place. I am interested in seeing that ballerina movie though.
I missed that commercial. That I'll have to look that up.
I know I've heard some rumblings about it because of Ana de Armas, but I'm also like, I don't know. But she does excite me a little bit as an actress. I don't think she's always casted in the best situations, but
No,
I'm
I
excited
feel
for
like
this.
I'm kind of typecast a little bit.
Mhm.
I did see on line this new movie with Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson,
Yeah.
Dying to Love.
Mhm.
But I don't, there's not a trailer out yet as far as I know. But that sounds,
Intriguing.
yeah, and it was labeled as it was like a comedy horror, maybe. Like it was
Mhm.
something kind of different. So, yeah, that sounded interesting to me. So, but I don't know when that's supposed to come out. Maybe summertime? I don't know.
I know, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what we might get this year. We just haven't really, and I think it sounds like a lot of places are having a hard time with, like, when to release things too,
Mhm.
and they keep pushing things, and so I don't know what all is going on with that. I think everybody's just trying to make the most money as they can and what they have to compete with.
I agree. It does, going back to what Sean Baker said in one of his speeches, I don't know if he was intentionally trying to specifically call out Netflix, because obviously they had Amelia Perez that was nominated for 13 awards and won what, two of them or something. Like it was really a small
Mhm.
amount. But like, yeah, that didn't get a theatrical release. That was full on streaming, and that's Netflix's MO. And it was kind of a big like screw you to streaming services that aren't doing the theatrical
Yeah.
releases. And Netflix has all this money for Amelia Perez, and then Neon had such, I think their budget was like 6 million for Anora, and then look at what the success that they had.
I know, I just wonder how this, award show would have gone or, like, how they would have picked if that scandal hadn't happened.
I wonder
And then it
too.
would have proved to the point the other way.
Yeah.
And that's in it. The thing with the streaming and stuff too, it is kind of nice when something comes to streaming because you don't have to worry about going in the theater and then you just have access to it. But I understand where they're coming from. It's like that's just killing Hollywood
Well,
or
and
like the movie industry.
yeah, and you're like, we've talked about it too. Like you do miss that camaraderie that you feel with a like a joint experience of watching a movie together with people.
Right.
I mean, even though they're strangers, like how you used to walk out of movie theaters, and even if you didn't know a person by you, like you could kind of give each other a look or maybe make a little comment about the film or whatever. Or like think about back when Harry Potter would really get released, and you'd have all the people out there for the midnight showings. Like that really has gone by the wayside.
I know. And, they need to make the theater experience more palatable too if they want us to get back in there.
I know. I guess I really don't know what the answer is because I think it was on the town that we've heard them talking about making movie theaters more like entertainment hubs where you
Yeah.
can do all these different things. Like, that doesn't necessarily appeal to me personally.
I know. It feels like we're at like a standoff right now because it's like people got so burnt out with celebrities in Hollywood and stuff that they're almost like, well, why am I gonna go support you when I can just, use my streaming service that I'm watching some TV show on anyway?
Yeah.
And then it's like you're like, so I'm not gonna go to the theater. And then they're like, well, we're not gonna put it on a streaming service. So you have to come to the theater. And it's just like we're fighting each other.
I
And I
know.
just want but I feel like I'm in a happy medium. But then because, it's not as expensive here as it is like in New York or Los Angeles, but it's still not a cheap date. I mean, me and my husband went to go see that Hard Eyes. And I mean, that was an expense. And we went to dinner beforehand. I mean, it was an expensive night. I mean, we don't do it all the time, but it's like I am going to be a little picky about what I go see.
Well, even if we would go to the movies, it's like at least $10 for a ticket. And then if you get snacks and
$50 for
stuff.
your snacks.
Yeah, I mean, it's for real. Like it is, and like we've said this before too. If you bring your kids along, it's like, well, yeah, we're eating here. Like you're
I
not
know, this
eating
is dinner,
over
sweetie.
there. Yeah, you better eat
Yeah,
all
so
that popcorn.
I know. So, I mean, people do. It's like if I'm going to spend the money for it, then I'm going to want to enjoy it. And I
Yeah.
feel like lately, everything I've chosen to go see in theaters, I've actually enjoyed. But I do feel like that was like lucky picks.
Well, and I will say too, like there are definitely like I've never gone to a movie theater and not been engaged because I'm not on my
Right in
phone.
front of your
I'm
face.
not distracted. Yeah, like even if I don't love the movie, I'm still watching it. But at home, I mean, it's oh, let me check my phone. Oh, let me look up who that actor was.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a text. Oh, let me run to the bathroom really quick. Like I'm not as into it as I am in a theater.
I know, because I'm just taking it for granted because I can
Yeah.
watch it tomorrow and tonight. I remember, but then on the other hand, I was just talking to my mom and she just went and saw a movie that I told her was probably going to be bad and I knew nothing about it. I just knew it was going to be bad and it was bad. And so it was like, oh, I wasted my money.
Hmm.
I didn't enjoy it. I remember there was a time where my whole family, I think it was like my grandma and grandpa, stepdad, mom, and my husband, we all went to the movie theater and they all wanted to see this I want to say it was a Clint Eastwood movie, and I said no. I wanted to go see that Mary Queen of Scots with Saoirse Ronan
Oh
and
yeah,
Margaret. I mean Margot
Robbie.
Robbie, and so I literally went in the other theater and watched it by myself, and they all watched the other one. And guess who had the best time? I loved my movie. They all hated theirs. So
That is so
I'm not.
funny.
I know, and it's like sometimes I do get like a little picky. Like if somebody's like, "Let's go see that," I'm like, "No, I don't want to see that." And it's like,
Oh, there's definitely
sorry,
films that I
I'm
choose, like
picky.
specifically say I'm
I'm not
waiting for
seeing
that
it.
one. Yeah.
I
But
know.
there are way more movies that I need to go to the theater for, and I do have a desire to go, but then like we said, it's only in there for like 2 weeks, or I don't even know exactly when it's getting released and then I miss it, or my schedule just doesn't allow for it. Like it's just not as easy to go to the theater
You know,
where we
there's
are,
no
in my opinion.
right. There's no leisure going to the theater anymore where it's not like, oh, it's Friday night and we're 16. Let's go for $5 and go see this movie just to hang out with your friends. Like that just isn't the case anymore. It's literally an investment.
Like I have to decide, am I getting groceries or am I going to the movies?
Right. But Anywho, yeah, so they need to make in the end of the day, like, I'm willing to go to the movies, and I'm sure even just a regular person who isn't that invested in movies is, but we have to make it more accommodating for
Or you know what? I
the
almost
general
wish,
audience.
yeah, just thinking about that and thinking of the price, why don't we do something like for the first X amount of weeks, it's full price. And then
Right.
after this amount of time, it's in for maybe it's a shorter amount, but it's, you know, $5 cheaper or even just a couple dollars cheaper. Like, I really
Mhm.
think that that would make a difference and bring more people into the theaters because it's just the cost is a factor, like flat out it is. And
I
that
know
would
for
kind of do two birds, one stone, where maybe we could have longer releases. And I know that there's more to it, like than
yeah,
just,
you can't just,
yeah,
release
I know
everything in
that.
the theater, but
But, I mean, it would help, like, I would definitely, like, try to go more, like, I would make more of an effort to go, you know, if I knew that I had more time or, "Oh, well, if I just wait and then I plan to go, I could maybe get it on a discount."
I know, like, I'd have no problem going to, like, Megan 2.0 and then the newest Saw movie, just kinda, like, on a whim, like, I'm not
Mhm.
don't need to go, but I'd be more apt to it if I could get it a little cheaper. I don't even know, like, are teenagers going to the theater all the time
I don't
anymore? I mean, I'm curious about that. I'm like, can they even afford it?
I know, like, to go out on a
Take
date,
a little
like,
date? Yeah,
that used to be the go-to thing, but now, I mean, you can get dinner for cheaper, kind of.
I know, or, like, or maybe go axe throwing or something, I don't know.
Get like crumble cookie or something, you're spending less
Yeah.
money. Yeah, I don't know, but something needs to be figured out. For me, it's not making the theater more of an experience because I also don't want to go and spend half my day at the movie theater. Like, I would rather go and watch
Right.
my movie and then go home. And even for somebody who has kids, do you really want to like be playing and doing all these things and then have your kids sit through a 2-hour movie or
No,
vice
let me get them.
versa?
It's like, let me get them all riled up.
Yeah. And then
Now
tell
I'll
them
go
to
sit
sit
down
and
for
be
2
quiet.
hours.
Yeah, I don't
Hmm.
know. I guess,
Yeah, I don't know what the solution is, and I know and it's like, it's not that I can't, you know, afford to go to it, but it does make it a little picky, or I could get a new purse,
mhm,
I don't know, it just seems like they have to figure something out, some kinda happy medium where and again, if I know something's good, like some things I don't wanna wait to see, but if I see that it's gonna be on streaming in a month, it's like, well, I'll just
why
wait.
not? Yeah, I'm already paying for Hulu and Netflix. I might as well just wait. Yeah,
Yeah, so they gotta figure it out.
we do. And I don't think that's going to happen in this year. I don't know if it'll happen for next year, but something drastically does need to change. So,
Yeah, because that's where we're at. We're at a
yeah,
standoff.
I'll stand off all day.
I know. Test me.
Yeah. Um, to switch gears a little bit, I watched that Ruby Frankie documentary. Did you get a chance to
Same.
see that?
Mhm.
Okay. Um,
Ooh.
did you know about the channel before the scandal broke?
I not kinda before like, I had heard of 8 Passengers, but I feel like that was just because 'cause they're in, like, Ace Family and
Mhm,
those LeBrant people, like, I've heard them in passing, but it wasn't until because I listened to that or watched that YouTube podcast, Do We Know Them? And they started that was the first time I heard about the, like, main scandal of
mhm,
them bringing it up about how, the one son was sleeping on the beanbag thing,
mhm.
and people upset about that. But and then they kept doing more episodes about it, and I couldn't listen to some of them because it was so awful. Like,
I
I'm like, "I literally can't listen to this," and this documentary Ugh.
The worst part of the documentary to me, I mean, with it goes without saying, the abuse is just
The
absolutely
thing with
horrendous.
the thing with this particular family is that the whole thing is so layered
Yeah.
too. It's like it's not just physical, emotional abuse. There's a whole other like religious trauma aspect
Mhm.
to it. I mean, some of that was just with that Jody
Yeah,
woman pretending to be like possessed. I'm
right.
like,
That
what
was so weird.
is going on here?
The thing that really hurt me to see, or that was just so like jarring to see, was that oldest son, and I can't remember
Oh,
what his name.
Chad.
Chad, yes. When they showed the videos and stuff and the clips, and at first when they're showing him, it's all the like cute stuff and him and his sister, Sherry, and it looks like, wow, like that they are cute, like what a good sibling relationship. And then as it goes on, you can just see how he withdrew. Like,
I
and
know.
totally was just a shell of himself and was shutting down, and like for him to be a teenager and already going through all those changes, and then to be feeling like all my family cares about is this YouTube. Like when he said, like, I don't like smiling at screens. I was like, or smiling into lenses or whatever, when she was forcing him to pose
I know.
for.
And then with the way they used him before because he was getting them all their views, but then when he stopped playing along, all of a sudden he was possessed by the devil.
Right.
And when they had to kick him out and make him just like punishing him,
I mean,
ugh, it was,
I felt horrible for all the children, but just
I know.
to,
And then
because
in the
he
way
was
he,
being interviewed, you could like
right, because,
get more of his story.
and when he was like, I believed that I was causing these problems because they were like brainwashed. Because I had mixed feelings about the dad, and I still do a little bit, but
Me too.
I think he also believed that him leaving was the best thing for the kids. And if that Jody person was like, you're a bad husband, and he's like, I just wanted to make her happy. And
The thing that was just very off-putting for me about the dad was just his demeanor. I mean,
yeah, it was kind of weird. Yeah, it seemed like he was almost like, I was, I felt like he was putting on an act about how he was feeling and stuff. That's why I'm still a little like conflicted because I still feel like he should have still gone and got the children, made sure they were okay with this
yeah.
psycho stranger in their house. But I do think I do think that they were brainwashed into believing that they were the problem and that it would be better off if they weren't there. And the hard part too about the documentary was that we didn't even really know what fully happened to the younger two that
I
were like
know.
emaciated. And I'm glad they didn't talk about it, but I'm like, oh my gosh, the horrors that those two must have gone through.
And how it was
It's
just
just,
so bizarre, and this is where it comes into what you said about it being so layered. I mean, where did this come from? Because seemingly at first it was
yeah,
all innocent, and
yeah,
then things started to progress more and more as the channel got more popular. But it did, and neither of, like, I think Sherry said, like, I don't ever think she was a good mom or a good person, but Chad did say, like, she was a good mom, and I think he still is a little bit conflicted in his
traumatized. Yeah.
but like it didn't seem like she was abusive their entire life. So it just is bizarre that it got to that
Took that
point.
turn.
Hmm.
I know because it almost seemed because then at one point she was talking about how she didn't care about the money anymore and kind of like started doing those weird, strange videos
Yeah.
about casting out the devil and stuff, and I just wonder, and maybe the documentary didn't do a great job of, like, talking about that transition into that, but I don't know if anybody truly knows, and then it seemed like Ruby isn't even speaking about what
Well,
she's done.
when I
So it's
saw
like a
go
big
ahead.
gap there.
Yeah, when I saw the footage of her getting arrested and then her interview at the police department, I was totally on the daughter's side. Like, no, she is evil. Like you
Sick.
can,
I know,
yeah,
sick, sick woman.
just the way that she was totally just vacant and just wouldn't answer a thing. And then when she was in court and started crying and getting emotional, and the daughter's like, I've seen her crocodile
Believe
tears too
it.
many
I
times.
know.
I'm like, how much stuff was left out of this documentary? You
I
know?
know that I feel like we won't even get answers about because nobody can give them to us. It's just so disturbing. And then just that footage of her, just all that when she's like, no, do it this way. Or when she was
Mhm.
even talking to herself, like, "Ugh, I should have said it like this.
Yeah.
Hi, this is me. I mean, it's so disturbing.
I
And like,
never have, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and like, do I think that every family vlogger gets on to that level of sociopathic or like any of that religious trauma part? Like, I don't think that's happening in all of them, but I am questioning a lot of those people though. Like, I've even questioned that when my son will want to watch, like, I think it's Kids to Kids is the, or Kids for Kids, and it's this Caleb, and then he has for sure two little sisters. I don't know. They keep like popping up. I'm like, I get so concerned. We haven't watched them in a long time because I'm like, are they even playing with this kid when they're not recording? Like, it just feels so gross to even partake in this at all.
I totally agree. Like, I never have been one that got into like any of those bloggers. I mean, I don't have children, so it would be a little odd if I did, but
I know, but they draw you in though, especially
yeah.
when that was popular. There was this girl that I would watch, and it was Shannon Rose, and she started out like um just kind of her stuff, but then she ended up having kids, so we like went on this kid journey with her because she had to do all this IVF and just it was all this stuff, and then she turned into more tried to be the family vlogger, and her one, well, apparently both the kids have autism. But
Mm,
the way it just started getting kinda icky, like, why are we putting and of course, not just to call her out, but why are we putting so much of this on it's like some of these people can't even function without posting a video, like, crying,
mhm.
getting mad, complaining, and then to bring the kids into the mix of this is just
Well, and then just with everything we saw with Ruby Frankie, it kind of exposed some things too, where we saw all this unseen footage where she's like, are you really not going to do this with me because, you know, this is important. Like, we're making money from this. Or you're not going to do this brand deal. Like, you don't realize, or like how you said she would get frustrated with herself and start over and do different takes. Like, this
so
is supposed to be your life, and you're curating it and producing it like that, like, and it seems like you're filming an awful lot of your life. So what is real for you? You know, like, you
I know,
literally,
when does the right, do you feel like you're on camera all the time even when you're not? And even the husband, when the husband was talking about that too, where he's like, then all of a sudden, on camera, and when these people would say, "Oh, wow, he's such a good husband," all of a sudden she started to like him more.
mhm,
And just like this, it was like this whole family felt the need to please this woman,
yeah,
and she liked the way they would portray themselves on camera, and that would make her happy, and it just what a strange mental gymnastics that
yeah.
must have been for all these people.
very strange family dynamics. Like and what a absolute roller coaster for people who were watching this unfold
I
live.
know,
You
I know, I thought about that too, like, that'd be traumatizing for them. You mean
know?
I
Mhm.
was taking part in this thing? I was so fooled by these people, or this woman, really.
Well, and especially when, the one video they showed where he's like, "Yeah, I haven't had a room for, a couple months or however long he said." And she's like, "Well, I don't think our followers knew about that." It's like, okay, so you can tell that she's like mad at him for saying that. But imagine like being like, "Oh, a new episode of or a new video from 8 Passengers," and then seeing that, you'd be like, wait, hold on a second. You haven't had a room and you've been having to sleep on a beanbag in your basement?"
I know because the part that I had remember hearing about when it happened was the one daughter forgetting to pack her lunch, and
Oh
she's
yeah.
like, "Well, no, you can starve. I'm not," like, the fact that she was like, "No, you can starve.
Mhm.
You'll learn your lesson." I was like, "Ugh, what do you mean? Are you
Well,
kidding me? I'd be trying to figure out how to get my kids some freaking food."
and especially, it's not like
What was she?
she wasn't working somewhere else
I
where
know,
it's like,
we're like a
"Honey, I can't bring it
yeah.
to you right now. Like I have 2 meetings I'm in between." It's like her job is literally a YouTuber. Like you could easily run to the school real fast.
I know. It was just insane, and then, the part that was really disturbing too was when they were showing that footage of the police going through that room that kid was
Oh,
in, and that
that
cayenne
cayenne
pepper
pepper.
and
Mhm.
honey. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Like, when they were just showing that area, I'm like, "This poor kids."
I
Like,
know, like, just an absolute torture chamber. That was the part that got me really emotional, was seeing that Ring camera footage and just
I
being
know.
like, this obviously, the fact that the son escaped saved his and his sister's life 100%.
Right.
But also that neighbor, like, he
I
came to the
know.
door. I mean, he exposed this family. And
I know.
we hear his 911 call and he's like getting like, just
Crying, is
when
like,
you hear a grown man, I mean, this was like an older man, and he's
yeah.
crying on the phone explaining the state of this child, like that was, oh my god, I couldn't hold it together.
I know, and even when that kid came up to the door and was like,
Mhm.
could hardly talk, and then he's like, "Well, what happened? Or why do you need 911?" He's like, "Personal business." It's like,
Yeah,
what kid talks like that?
and he
I mean,
didn't
it
even
was
want to
just so
say.
I know, he's like, he just seems so weak, like, it was just so sad, and just to hear his little defeated voice, I mean, it was so
The
ugh.
way he almost fully walked away because the guy didn't
I
come to
know
the door
he's
immediately.
I know. Ugh, that poor
Oh,
thing, and then that little girl
yeah,
sitting there, they're like her head was shaved. I'm like, "Oh my gosh," like, I can't even imagine the horrors that those 2 went through.
me, I don't even wanna think about it because it's just so terrible.
I know.
I did
They
find
didn't
it
oh,
I
go ahead.
found it odd. I mean, I understand why, but it was weird how everybody's faces were blurred except for the 2 older ones, because
Mhm,
they already had been all over YouTube,
mhm.
you know?
Did now, did she blur their faces, though? Because 'Cause isn't there maybe I'm thinking of somebody else, but I thought there was a family vlogger that did blur the kids' faces, but still basically exposed them fully.
I guess I assumed no, and I thought that the younger ones were blurred now because, you know, like they can't consent to that. I don't know how old they all are right now, but and obviously there was more trauma inflicted with the younger ones. But
Mhm.
maybe you're right. But then why would
I
they
just
not have blurred Chad and Sherry?
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought, and I was like, I wonder if it was them that blurred. But I don't know.
Well, based on the way Ruby Frankie seems, I would say no, she didn't blur their faces. But I don't know because well, Sherry and Chad definitely weren't because remember there were some comments about how handsome Chad was, and
Mhm.
that was like weird. But obviously he was
She
like a
liked it.
yeah, she liked the engagement. But so I don't know. I really don't, and I'm sure their YouTube is completely gone at this point.
I know. But so I don't think it really touched on this too much in the documentary, but I thought when some of that came out that maybe her and that Jody were like lovers a little bit, or it was like really unclear.
Well, the daughter insinuated that.
Well, and they kind of like touched on it a bit. Like they're like when the daughter Sherry went into the room, she's like there was massage oil and like all this different things
Yeah,
in there.
candles all
And
over.
I was Yeah, but I couldn't remember if when it was coming out, if they, because I was kind of confused about, because I remember they were like, oh, she was living with this woman and the dad was gone. And I was like, so what is going on here? But
Yeah,
I don't think
they
it's,
definitely made some comments in the documentary, just like when they had that footage of wherever the heck they were on a jet ski, and she
Mhm.
was kind of like lovingly, putting her head on Jody's back on the jet ski and like kind of
Hmm.
acting affectionate or like they said little things, but I don't know if they know.
Yeah, it all seems very murky.
Yeah, it's just so, and then that's not even touching on anything with the church stuff. I mean, that's
I know, it was like, it's just so layered.
yeah, it really, but and we've talked before about just having kids on social media in general, but it really does make a case for like family bloggers and stuff like that to not be allowed because, and I know that a lot of people have also said that about reality TV or even child actors in general, but at the very least with the TV show there are other people involved that you
Right.
wouldn't.
There's like cast and or crew,
Yeah,
production companies.
where you're hoping that if something unsafe or fishy was going on, that would be caught, especially in this day and age. But when you're a family blogger, I mean, it's totally unsanctioned, like you're doing whatever you want. You're editing it yourself and putting it up online. And it really does feel strange.
It does for you to just be in complete control, and it's like that's the way you can maximize the amount of money you get.
Mhm.
But yeah, it does feel murky, and I just feel like now, especially now, there is a way to be like a family vlogger, like a mommy vlogger, without showing the kids. Like if you
Yeah.
were talking about like this is what I packed the kids for lunch. The kids don't need to be in it,
No.
or like or anything, or we're taking the kids to this place or whatever. You can have their voices in the background. There's just no reason for them to actually have to be on camera. It's not gonna change anything, in my opinion.
I completely agree. And what we've said before, even about like posting pictures of your kids and stuff.
Hmm.
And I know Heather McDonald has said this, and she mentioned it on because in her most recent episode, she talked about this documentary too, with a journalist who interviewed the daughter, the oldest daughter, and she was just saying, you know how you'll see some of those posts and it'll be of like a sassy toddler or whatever, and whether it's a boy or a girl, it doesn't really matter. And you'll see that there's like all these likes, but then there's all these shares too. It's like,
Yeah,
where is that getting shared to?
I know, or
Who's
the
getting,
saves.
yeah,
Yeah, because there's that one little girl in particular that does that, and it's like the mom is so like, it's still worth it to the mom, like, she's
yeah.
like, "Well, I'm
I think
making the
we
money,
talked
I don't
about
care."
that before.
Yeah, it's like, I don't care what anyone's doing with it, and it's just so no protection for this poor child.
Yeah, and it really just opens you up and your child up to just being unsafe. Like, who knows what these freaks out on the internet are doing with these pictures or videos of your kid? Like, and like Heather mentioned in this episode with AI, like people can now take your kid's face and make it do pretty much anything. Like,
Mhm.
are you okay with that? Like, you're okay with random people you don't know having access to your child's likeness?
I know. Well, I remember when YouTube made that big switch in any kid content, I can't have comments on it anymore
Yeah.
because it would be like kids doing gymnastics and just having these or like these little girls and this the foulest comments, and people finally complained about it enough that they just took comments off. And it's
But
like,
it,
even though that doesn't stop people
yeah,
from viewing it, but at least they're not encouraging each other.
and clearly that's not enough either, like,
Right.
and there's no way to stop people from viewing the content.
Disgusted, right, and being
So,
creepy and gross.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really do feel like there needs to be more regulation on stuff like that, and I just don't, I guess I don't really know, like you said, why, if you're a mommy blogger or whatever, I don't, why do I even need to see your kids? Like, I really
I
don't even
know, and
want
we
to know
just
their names, quite frankly.
no, it's like there's just no reason for it. You can tell me, how you get them to sleep or what books they're reading or what grade they're in or what you're making for their Easter basket. I don't need to
Mhm.
see the kid.
Yeah,
This is what I'm doing for a 4 to 6 year old girl. This is her
yeah.
Easter basket. We just don't need to see these kids in there, and you can still make the content you want.
And if you want to be relatable, like you still can be, it's just, why do you need to expose your children?
Right.
And especially the ones that really monopolize or manipulate situations and put like the really embarrassing stuff out there,
Yeah.
like we've seen the videos, obviously, like the ones about anything with puberty or periods and stuff like that, but also the ones where a kid's having a complete temper tantrum meltdown,
Yeah.
or they're really upset about something, and it's like, oh well, let me get the camera on your face. Like, why?
I know. It's where like we're seeing that so much on TikTok right now. It's like
Mhm.
this is my child with this behavioral issue. Watch what he's doing. And then
Yeah,
they'll like let the kid kind of tackle them. This is what I do to stop it. And it's like, okay, maybe that could be a little bit helpful, but it just seems wrong to stick a camera up. Hold on, let me set up my cameras, make sure we're in the view. And you could see
yeah,
them looking to make sure everything's in view. It just seems like put the camera down, take care of the situation, then get on camera and explain the situation
yeah. I just,
if you must.
I can't imagine being the child in that scenario. And of course, I'm assuming at first you probably don't think it's weird, especially now that we all have our phones, we're taking pictures of
Right.
everything. But as you get older and start to understand more, I just can't imagine how that would affect you. I mean, you've got to be so to know that all these strangers saw such personal, intimate, or embarrassing moments in your life. Like, that would
Mhm.
be so like, I don't even know how I would feel about that, you know?
I know, I'd be so creeped out, or you'd just be sad, or I
Yeah,
don't I just it's just so even some of the people that put their, like, disabled children,
yeah.
a lot of them they can't consent anyway, even if they
Mhm.
are adults, and just to be constantly having that camera in that person's face just feels, and yeah, it's, and again, we can, if you have a child with a certain disability and you're looking for community, that is a nice way to do it, but I don't think we need to see that person.
Yeah, when people can't consent for whatever reason, it just doesn't feel good.
No, and I just the constant, even if your child's not disabled or any
Yeah,
situation, why are we constantly having that phone?
right.
I like constant. I just can't imagine like trying to like, oh, I'm working on my homework with my kid and having to have
The
this
phone
camera
out.
just in their face all the time, in my face all the time. I don't know. It's just a lot.
Well, and we're not ones that are big on or on,
Do that
pictures
anyway.
anyway. We never have been, like, throughout our
No.
lives, which has been annoying sometimes. Like, we could have preserved a lot more memories, but
Right.
but it's just like even now, I mean, if I'm like with your kids or with, at a concert or anything like that, like I'm almost like embarrassed to get my phone out. Or if I'm with your kids, it's like, oh, I want to like make this memory, but I'm just going to do it really fast. And then I'm putting my phone away.
Right. Like,
Like
let
I
me take
just,
a smile, and then
yeah,
be done with it.
I don't want it to be the focus, or I don't want me to not be in the moment because I'm worried about getting these
Getting the
videos.
perfect picture.
Yeah, like I can't imagine then that being your day-to-day life of having that phone up all the time and taking different takes of
I
situations. Like
know.
it just seems so crazy.
I know, just, there was that one video where that mom was trying to do the thumbnail and she accidentally posted the unedited footage, and the dog had just passed away or something, or the cat,
Oh,
or she was like, "No, look sadder," and he's like, like trying to look sadder, and then he's like, "But I am sad." Like it was just such a look sadder about your pet for this thumbnail. It was like, oh my gosh,
like where's your reality? Like that's just
I
insane.
know. Just do it again, do it again, do it again. These poor kid, it's just so
So
sad.
sad. And to just lose a childhood like that too is just
Mm,
that's heartbreaking. Like you're never gonna get that back, you know?
no. Mm.
To switch gears, I finally watched Nosferatu because it came on streaming. So I didn't go to the theater to see that.
It's not that far from when it came out. It only came out at the end of December, so
Yeah, so I did enjoy it. I will say though, like I said a little bit ago, if I had been in theaters, I certainly would have been more engaged. I mean, because
Mhm.
I was doing other things while I was watching it, and I wouldn't have been able to do that had I watched in theaters. But I thought that Lily Rose Depp did do a really good job. I mean, she was very intense in this role, and yeah, overall, I thought it was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I liked, I feel like it's that good winter spooky
Hmm.
vibe movie. Yeah, I really liked Lily Rose Depp in that. I would like to see her in a little bit more things, and she's just so intriguing to look at.
Yeah, I was really impressed by her performance. Because I haven't seen her in a lot.
Oh,
I don't
right.
know. yeah, how she is as an actress. So this was, I'm like, wow, you commit. Like that's impressive because
Mhm.
this was a heavy role. A lot was going on for her, but I couldn't help but just feel a little like the whole thing was so sexual. Even like the parts that weren't necessarily supposed to be sexual, like they were. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was definitely that. And in my opinion, I just felt like she was being assaulted all the time, but I know other people feel differently.
And maybe it was because uh you had told me your thoughts on the movie and I was more going that way, but I didn't feel like she wanted to be with him. Like I
See,
definitely felt.
that's what I felt. That was the vibe I got, and I don't know why people are saying it differently. And I know she kind of said it differently too, but to me it seems like no, she didn't want that at all. She was mad about it.
Yeah, it just felt like she had that pull and she was like being like the possessed almost. And then
Yeah.
obviously toward the end, she did what she did to save everything because she knew what the
Right.
prophecy was basically. But I didn't feel like she was actually wanting.
Yeah, like she desired him so
Yeah,
badly. Mhm.
yeah. So I totally agree with you on that one.
Mhm.
I honestly don't even know how people could think of that
I
differently.
know,
But then,
same.
I mean, I guess I could see like the one part where she clearly was kind of in one of her like possessed states
Mhm,
when they were back at the house and it was right after her husband was like ill and stuff. And then
mhm.
she said like what did she say? Something like, "Oh, you won't love me like he does." There's something
You
in
could
the.
never please me
Yeah,
as he does.
yeah. Like I think that was her being possessed.
Yeah, same, like him being like, "Ha, I have control over her,"
Yeah,
and then her husband, Thomas, I believe his name was like, "No," and then
yeah,
she's like, "Show him our love."
right, yeah. Because obviously 2 minutes before that, she was foaming at the mouth, like
Right.
convulsing. I mean, how could you say that that was her choice to
I know.
do that?
Didn't look like it to me.
No. But yeah, it was definitely different. It was her acting was impressive. I I don't know. I think you had brought up about the Aaron Taylor Johnson. I didn't like dislike him. I just didn't feel like his character really like brought a ton and so his acting was just kind of lackluster in the role, but
You
I
know,
didn't hate it.
no, and I saw a lot of people did not like his performance in it, but I almost thought like he was supposed to be kind of like this comic relief thing. So it's like it was I don't know if it fully worked, but I didn't mind him in it.
I didn't find him to be distracting. Like to me, he was
No.
such a side character that it was like, okay, this is just to move the story along. Like
Right.
he wasn't that important, you know. Like he could have literally been anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was glad I got to finally watch that. Did you get to watch anything recently?
I did watch Love is Blind, so I'm caught up in that season 8. I've seen a lot of people say that they felt like it was kind of a boring season, but I think most of the people, whatever persona they're putting on, were kind of just normal. So there wasn't too many people that were like, I mean, there's obviously a couple of characters in there that get caught up in all the emotions, but I just feel like everybody's kind of like normal.
Mhm.
So there's not like this insane drama, but there was one thing where the one girl, they had like picked each other or whatever, and then it's like this big cliffhanger thing. And she's like, I think he's seen me before. I'm pretty sure he followed me on Instagram. And when after they had like the reveal, and she was like, there's just something about him I think I remember. And I think I remember he followed me and then unfollowed me. And she had the app where it tells you who followed or unfollowed you.
Mhm.
And so she like has this huge confrontation with him, and then the producers come in all dramatic. If you need your phone now, you can go through it to get the answers you
Oh my
want.
god.
So she like goes through it and she can't find him on the unfollow thing, but she's like, there was specifically this picture of him by a Christmas tree holding a drink, blah blah blah. And then he was kind of like, I mean, there's a picture of me sitting, but there's not like a Christmas tree, but like blah, 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 blah. And then there was like, he said a couple other things, and she's like, that was all on my Instagram. And then he like got this ornament or not ornament, stocking that was similar to the ones that she had in her pictures. But she couldn't find his name on there. So she's like, I'm sorry. I feel so crazy. I can't believe I did that. Like, I want to go forward to going on like the vacation together if you want to. And he's like, yeah, no, it's okay. Like, I'm sorry, but he totally followed her on Instagram and then
How would you
unfollowed.
know that about her posts and the
I
stockings?
know, or like just the weird coincidence. She's like, I have on my thing that I love Taco Bell, and it was like brought up. But I will say though, that even if he did know she was getting on it, he couldn't guarantee himself getting casted and guarantee that they would pick each other. But I still feel, I don't know how all this is going to end because there's going to be more episodes, I think, well, when this comes out. But I don't know if the reunion's coming out yet. Well, anyway, I'm just curious how that all that panned out and if those two are still together because they end up having like probably the healthiest relationship on there as of now. Like they communicate good. He's from a good family. That was oh my gosh, his family was so sweet. And then the two families met.
Um,
I was like, oh, it was just so sweet. But
well,
anyway, so
yeah,
I'm curious how all this is gonna pan out with that. But I'm like, I don't know why he wouldn't just be like, because he was like, I mean, maybe I followed you, maybe I didn't. I don't remember doing that. But I don't know why he couldn't have just been like, there is a good possibility I probably followed you because you have a lot of followers and we're from the same city. Like, I
yeah,
don't think that would have necessarily been
that
wrong. And I
weird.
don't know where the unfollowed this girl happened or how he would have found out that she was going to be on it and that he was going to be on it.
Well,
But
that's
I
what I was
just
gonna
feel,
say. Does
yeah,
it have to be like a producer, like he knows somebody? Because how
see,
would he
that was my theory. I'm like, what if he found out she was gonna be on it and then he knew somebody who could guarantee him on the show? But that'd be pretty freaking crazy if it happened.
well, and even then, that also doesn't guarantee that she's going to like him.
Yeah, so it's all really just a fluke thing. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know how I feel about it, but I do think he probably did follow her on socials.
I
But
think he probably, based on what you're saying, he probably did. But like you
I
said,
hope
it wouldn't be that weird if he was just like, "Oh yeah, I
did.
like you
Yes.
came across, or we have mutuals, or whatever, and
No.
I just followed you." Like that wouldn't have been odd.
No. So, we'll see what happens with that. I feel like we spent a lot of time in the pods this season, and they made the comment that they had more contestants this season than they normally do. That way, because
No.
last season was such a disaster, I feel like they were like, okay, we got to make sure these people actually like each other. But other than that, that's pretty much it.
That you watched, or is that just your
Yeah, or
thoughts
just
on
about that season.
oh,
I did start the Gabby Petito again. I went back into it, the documentary.
mhm.
My complaint about it is when I first started it, they had that random girl on there talking about how like Yeah, like, Brian, like, wanted me, but I told him we
Oh,
just had to be, like, friends. I'm like, "What is this girl doing on here? Get her off of here."
what's the point of that?
Literally, it's so embarrassing that she was on there. That's why I turned it off, but I did go back to it, and I haven't seen her since, but I think I'm, like, in the middle of the 2nd episode.
I don't know. I find that just to be such a tough one. And
Mhm.
it's just it's so interesting too, speaking of like the Ruby Frankie thing and the Gabby Petito. And I know with Ruby Frankie, there are a lot of family bloggers out there, but hopefully there's not ones that are doing the depraved things that she was doing. But like with Gabby Petito, and not that to make light of her situation at all, obviously it's absolutely horrible, but there's so many women that go missing and or that get unfortunately abused or killed at the hand of a spouse or a partner. And it's just kind of like when you think about it, you're like, why did her story get so much traction over these all these other ones? Why do we now have a documentary about her story and we don't hear anything about all these other ones? Like I will get like so in my head about it, and it really just makes me like question stuff.
It is interesting that I feel like specifically with this Gabby Petito, how parasocial people got with it, where it was literally the public, whoever was following her, noticed that were like on her Instagram and noticed that this didn't make sense for her to post. And
Mhm.
I don't know how they found out she was missing
Me
in
either.
the first place, but it was just such an insane, like, I just feel like that case took over TikTok, and I think it was 2020
That's
when that
that's it feels like it was 2 years ago, like
I
it
know,
just
maybe I'm wrong on that. It just seemed like it swept up, and then people were like, "We drove past the van," and that's how they
Mhm,
found her body. Like, it was
mhm.
just such a it was like social media took it over in the most bizarre way to the point where they literally solved the case.
I know.
And it
And
just
why? Why
I
did
know. Well, it's interesting that just the public taking such a huge interest in a case could literally solve it, and the fact that that doesn't get to happen very often is sad because we literally proved that we can solve a murder
yeah,
as a collective.
yeah. It's because then I don't know, she's another one, like, I didn't know about her until all this stuff happened, unfortunately. And I know that she had a little social media following with the van life stuff, but I don't know how popular they were. Like, I don't know how many
I don't
followers
know
they
that
had,
either.
but I don't think that they had like hundreds of thousands of followers. It seemed like they were
Mhm.
probably just starting out more.
I know, and it is such an interesting thing to think about too, the fact that so many people do have such a social media presence, and even when you, like, just are scrolling through something and somebody's like, "RIP to this person," and you can people will be like, "It's this person," in the comments, and you can just go to their TikTok
Mhm.
and see them fully alive and
Yeah,
all this stuff, and it's just so wild that we could just do that now. Like, I don't know, we just get so much from people that it does kind of turn into this whole thing.
I know. I think I feel because with everything with like Ted Bundy or all these other huge high profile serial killers or murderers, when we get all the movies and the documentaries and the series about them, even with like Menendez too, it just feels like I don't. I mean, with Gabby Petito, she was a victim, So it's a different feeling, but it's just like I don't want to feed into that kind of stuff. And with Gabby's case, I of course you want to bring awareness, but then it's not necessarily bringing awareness because you're just learning more horrible facts about what this boyfriend and maybe his family also did, and it's just so disturbing, like I just and then when I just think like how many any other women or young girls or young boys or whatever are out there that are missing and we don't know anything about them, like could we be helping, could we be trying to find these people, like it just feels so, I don't know, like it just feels weird.
It is weird how we have taken, like, with the rise of, like, true crime podcasts and stuff, how much we get sucked into it in almost a, I don't know, disturbing way, where it's like we should be talking about this type of stuff and learning, different self-defense tactics or like patterns of these like serial killers or abusers. So it's like in a way it's like important to learn all that stuff, but it does get murky. Like,
And I'm not doing those things. Like I'm not listening to this and being like, wow, lesson learned. I need to enroll in self-defense right now, Like I haven't done that personally. So it's not necessarily helping me in that way. It's just me consuming the media.
mhm. So it's like it's scandalous and
Yeah.
we're going to put all these conclusions and come up with conspiracies about Brian Landry still being alive and
Mhm.
just all these different things. And I don't know, it is, especially when something is solved too.
Yeah.
It's like, do we need a documentary on solved things? Unless it's like a big collective or something. I don't know. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's just it's a weird time. It's just those types of shows and documentaries are popping up all over the place.
I know.
Um, the last thing that I had as far as like media and stuff goes is very, very strange. So I don't remember. I think that we had talked about how Armie Hammer started a podcast called
Hmm.
Armie Hammer Time. And
Hmm.
I don't know if you saw this, but he was, I don't know if this is the setup of his whole podcast, but he's like talking to this girl. So I didn't know who she was. So I don't know if he was interviewing her, but they were having a conversation. And he was telling a story about how he thought maybe I'd like to hook up with guys.
Yeah, I did see.
And he went into all this detail about how he went on Grinder and how he's making these like broad statements about the gay community about how they can basically just pluck somebody, out of a dinner table and then have a tryst in the bathroom and then come back. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if that's hugely offensive or if they're okay with that kind of, situation. I don't know, but it seemed offensive to me. And then he told like the most bizarre story about how he was going to hook up with this guy and then he was just like, it wasn't working for me down there and I just had to be like, dude, stop. And the way he was telling the story was so unhinged. It was so like I was getting secondhand embarrassment so bad from watching that small clip.
I know when I saw that, I just was like, I didn't end up reading it. I'm like, I don't know what he's doing. What is he doing?
I don't know.
I think it's just time to go back to selling timeshares.
Weird.
He just and then it just takes away from, like, the really beautiful, meaningful role he had in Call Me by Your Name, and then you're just gonna, like, throw all this, "Yeah, I thought I'd try it because things just weren't working out for women," and I'm like,
Yeah,
"What are you referring to no one wanted to do the cannibalism thing? Is that
right.
what you're referring to there, buddy? That's why it wasn't working out?"
It was very, very odd. And you're right, like that. I didn't even think about the Call Me by Your Name thing, but like, yeah, such a beautiful role and story that, well, I mean, it was, I don't know if beautiful is
Sad.
like the right word, but it was a very meaningful role and story.
Right,
And then to kind of just diminish the relationships that people can have. It just felt
right,
really like, or like, yeah, I it's not a big deal for me to say that I thought about dabbling with guys. Where like for other
right.
people that's such a huge part of their life to even admit that. And he's
Yeah, and
just
he
like,
was like,
yeah,
"Yeah,"
yeah, yeah. Didn't
and
do
I
it
don't
for
know if he
me.
was right, and I didn't get, like, what he was trying to do with that, if he was trying to be like, "Oh, this is a funny, scandalous story."
But it
It's like,
really wasn't. It came off
no.
really poorly.
Yeah, it came off really weird, and it didn't do you any favors, buddy.
And whoever the girl was in the room, you could tell she was really uncomfortable. Like she
Yeah,
didn't
like,
even know how to
how do I respond? Yeah, like,
yeah.
how do I respond to this? Bro, why would you even wanna sit down with him? Or was she was sitting down with
I
whatever.
don't know because I only saw that one. Like TMZ cut the clip and had posted it, and I didn't see any context of who this person was that he was with. But it 100% was his own podcast. So I don't know if he was interviewing or if she's like a co-host. I don't know,
Mm.
but
Ah,
yeah, he needs to just. And that's the other thing. There's nothing. I don't think anybody should feel any type of shame for whatever they want to do sexually. But
right.
after everything that he has gone through with that, you have an ex and children, and you're still putting stuff like this out online.
I know, and I'm just kinda like, "Oh, so there's male victims too."
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you don't care. It's just
right.
like,
I
"Oh,
just
that's better."
he constantly puts his foot in his mouth, and it's just like who is his publicist? Who is his
I
representation?
think he's gone rogue.
He doesn't have any anymore. But yeah,
Oh, boy.
that was my bizarre. I was in such disbelief when I saw that. I'm just like, Armie Hammer, what is going on? Like, I never could have guessed that this is where he would be in 2025, after like the cannibalism stuff and then this. I'm like, what a fall from grace.
I know.
So bizarre. Did you have anything else for this week?
Not really. The only thing I heard, I was listening to my little snark bait podcast, but they were talking about the alleged drop of Alex Jones from Alex Cooper's
Mm,
Unwell Network. And they were saying, I guess on the BFF podcast, which Brianna Chicken Fry and Josh Richards, of course, it's Brianna Chicken Fry. But anyway, Josh, I guess, was like, do you know more about that situation? And she was kind of like, yeah. And there's a lot more to that story, which of course there is. But it'll be interesting to see if more of that stuff comes out about Alex Cooper.
it will be interesting because I saw
Curious.
Alex Earl. She was very coy about the whole situation when she had done
Mhm.
I think she was doing it like get unready with me or something and was talking and she was just like, yeah, I mean, you've probably seen a lot of things in the press recently. It's been a lot. and then she just went on to whatever else. Like she didn't touch on it at all. So is there an NDA? Like I don't know.
I know, I'm curious to see, well, and I feel like with Alex Earl, just a theory, her family seems very involved with her, and I feel like some of these other people that Alex Cooper preys on maybe don't have that kind of emotional backing to them.
Yeah.
So maybe that could have been part of the conflict there, but
She
we
couldn't
shall
get
see.
total control.
Mhm. So anyway, we'll just see what happens with
Yeah,
that.
we'll see. I'm sure Alex Cooper will try to spin it anyway, whatever. However she
Mhm.
wants the narrative to be, she'll spin that like a top.
Mhm. Shady.
Yeah, not to throw out any allegations against her, but
I don't know what's going on there, so we shall see.
it to me, her whole situation too seems like a classic case of she's got too big and wasn't prepared for that. Like, I mean, when you think
Cooper.
Cooper,
Mhm.
like,
No, I agree. I feel like she's kind of gotten to this point where she is literally at the top level. Now, what do I do with it? And then she's just kind of like trying to have people under her so she can be like the boss again.
mhm, mhm,
But I don't know. But I mean, it's crazy to think because I think she's what, 30 maybe?
yeah,
To I mean, that's a big responsibility.
yeah.
Just seems like maybe she bit off a little bit more than she could chew there.
That's what it feels like when she started the Unwell Network. It just felt like, okay, like, and I don't know why. I guess that's just we saw that with Nick Vial too. Like, okay, that's a weird move, but okay. Like, I don't. Is it
On
just
it,
because you don't know where else to go, and that's what you feel like the
right.
next level
Or do
is?
you want right, or do you wanna, like, take a step back? But
Yeah,
it's like when she's getting these, whatever, $50 million, I don't know what it is, dollar deals, why do you need anything
I
else?
know. That's what I don't understand either. I mean, you could, and at this point, she could just walk away from podcasting
Yeah.
altogether and have her money that is made. And her husband is successful too. So they're
Right,
not,
it's like it's not whoops, it's not like he's a nobody, it's like
yeah,
she'll be okay.
right. So I guess I just don't, I don't know. It just feels like she doesn't know what the heck to do. And so she's like, okay, well, I have to continue to climb the ladder. But in my opinion, she could have just stayed exactly where she was. And
Gave it a
did-
little time,
yeah,
really put something cool together because I think she could do a little bit. Like, it just felt like the other and I don't listen to any of the other unwell people, but I feel like she just really leaned into this, like, "Oh, here's what Gen Z wants. We want these crazy party girls," when she coulda actually had something pretty meaningful
yeah,
and maybe had a little fun too with some other types of people and not just trying to throw all these people out there.
yeah. Well, too late for all that now. She's already kind of stuck where she is. So, but I hope that we do get more information from Alex Earl's side of things.
You know, like, what went down?
Yeah,
Dun, dun,
I
dun.
do really want to know.
Mhm. And
So
then Dave Portnoy, I guess, was saying something too about how maybe she's a little difficult, but
well,
I
I
wouldn't
don't
be surprised if he said a woman was difficult.
exactly like I don't really trust his opinions here.
No.
All right, well, should we wrap it up?
Mhm.
I think this is the longest that we've recorded in quite a while. We're over the 2-hour mark.
There's just so many juicy things.
There really was a lot to talk about, though. So, it is what it is. I have a recommendation that I really am liking. So my hair is bleached. If people don't know, I don't naturally have these sun-kissed locks, but it was feeling super dry. And I even like I'm using a hair mask and I use like a leave like a detangler and a heat protectant and all this stuff, but it was just still feeling so dry and it was driving me crazy. So I went to Sephora and I got the Kerastase repairing anti-frizz serum, and it seriously, like I've used it twice now after I've showered, and my hair has immediately felt so much better, like feeling softer, looking better. And it is on like a little bit more pricey, but the bottle, to be fair, is decent and you don't need a lot of the product. But it is about like $48, which I don't really like to usually spend that much on one hair product, but obviously I did. But I would recommend it because my hair feels good. And it's just sometimes I think it's hard when you do color your hair and you bleach it and it just loses all life if you don't use good products like that.
I know hair products, I always have a hard time spending on them because I don't know why. Like, I don't bat an eyelash for the skincare, but the hair care, I'm like, well, I can't buy the shampoo and conditioner this time. I'm gonna wait a
I
week, buy the conditioner.
know. I know. I'm the same way. But then when you actually do splurge and try something, you're like, oh, this is why, because it's actually way more effective than a cheaper thing that I've been using.
I know, and I have found too that once you, because been on a little hair journey too, about the type of hair you have, and once you find the right products and take care of it in a different way, it does make a huge difference. Like I learned I had low porosity hair, and some of the best things for me to do is like take the wide tooth comb in the shower and comb the conditioner through, and it has just even that in itself, and then just like a lightweight products just makes such a huge difference. And I'm like, oh, this is what we need.
Now, how did you determine that you have low porosity hair?
Just from looking things up because I have a problem with like frizz kind of, which you can clearly see. I'm like, no, I'm using hair products. It's fine. In like the way it repels water,
Hmm.
which I've always had a problem with too, and just certain things like that. So like
Okay.
repelling the water, the frizz, like kind of staying wet longer and like looking better with heat. Because air drying just doesn't look great. Although it's gotten better since I've been doing stuff like that, and then I
Mhm.
switched to the more lightweight products because of that, and it's not weighing because it's my hair just repels heavy products.
Okay.
So it's like basically not doing anything, and then my hair gets gunky. And
Yeah.
then I had to switch to using a um purifying shampoo more often to get
Mhm.
that gunky product off, instead of like just keeping to use. So anything like too heavy just doesn't work for my hair, basically.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's just sometimes that just makes such a big difference when you're using the right products, expensive or not, for your hair.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
oh, this is the issue.
I don't think that's something that's really talked about enough, honestly.
No, you're like, why do I keep having this frizz? Let me put more heavy stuff
Yeah,
on. And then
yeah,
that's actually kind of making it worse.
yeah, yeah. Well, this is why, see, it would be so helpful, like, and I don't know if I'm sure that things change all the time with like cause school and stuff, but like my stylist has never said anything like that to me.
Mm-hmm. I know I've never been told that by my stylist either. But
Maybe they don't
TikTok
have the
helps.
training on it, you know, like.
I know, like different hair types, because when they get you, when you're styling anybody's hair, with heat and stuff, it's going to look better.
Mhm.
And then using like the different expensive hair care products, like it's going to look better. But then when you go home, and what products are you using? And
Yeah,
that can make or break. Or like, why can I never get it like the salon? It's like, well, probably because you're not using it for your right
hair
hair
type.
porosity. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, you should definitely try to figure out what your hair porosity is. And you
Yeah.
could, and there is normal hair porosity. So,
Well, maybe I'll do that after I finish using this product
yeah.
since I just bought.
Well, that could be the perfect product for your hair.
Well, maybe it is because it really has made a difference. So maybe it is
Yeah,
what I needed. So
it could totally be helping.
yeah.
My recommendation is going to be chia seed pudding.
Mm,
I'm going back to making it again, which I love getting it at this place in your town where I add in the granola and the fruit. Yum, yum, yum. But I was making it for myself for a while, and then I just stopped. But the kids liked it before, so I'm curious if they'll like it this time. But it's
yeah,
just super easy to make. It's just like a fourth cup of the chia seed, and then a half cup, a whole 1 cup of coconut milk. And I think you can use other types of milk, but I like the coconut milk, just not dairy milk because it's got to harden
mm,
and or not harden, but turn into a pudding. And then just like vanilla extract, I think just like a tablespoon, and then like a teaspoon, and then a tablespoon of maple syrup.
nice. And then do you
Super
put it?
easy
Is it
in the
overnight?
fridge. Yeah. I think it's usually at least 4 hours, but I just always did it overnight.
Nice. That's easy.
It is. And it's got, the chia seeds are very good for you.
I don't think I've ever had that.
Not even at that place by you? Oh
No.
my gosh. You're missing out. So good.
The one place that is no, it wasn't even the one the one coffee place that's near you. They would do like the acai bowls. And the
Mhm.
one time I don't even get those. I never get those. And I got it the one time and it had like the peanut butter and the coconut on it and stuff. And it was freaking delicious.
I know. Those are good. I rarely order those too. I don't know, because sometimes I want like more of a substance. Not that those aren't, but they're more like feels like you're eating a smoothie.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes I get really thrown off by those too because in your head you're like, "Oh, this is healthy. This is totally healthy."
Mhm.
But then if you actually, which I don't count calories, but if you were to and you count up all
Yeah.
the toppings and the serving, it actually probably
Like,
isn't
hold
as
on. Yeah.
big.
Like, is it healthier than a bowl of ice cream?
Yeah.
Probably.
But yeah, so I don't know. I don't get them that often, but they when I got them before, it was really good. But the chia seed thing, that's really easy to make on your own, and if it
It's so
tastes good
easy.
without having all those different things in it, because that's what we said before
Mhm.
about smoothies too. When we make it ourselves, it's just not as
100
good.
million.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's super good. And then it's so good with granola and fruit. Just add on top.
Mhm.
Chef's kiss.
Yummy. I'll have to try that.
Yeah, I think it's worth trying, and just like a nice little breakfast.
Mhm. And I've just been
So,
I'm still on my protein kick, guys. I know it's the camera ads. Oh, nobody can see us anyway, actually.
well, then the camera adds.
We still are having our technological issues. So please bear with us there. But Yeah, I made actually muffins and I put some of my protein powder, the scoops into the muffins, and that definitely tastes better than just the protein drink itself. But I have still been doing that. And it does will say like does keep me fuller for longer.
Yeah, for sure.
It's that protein, but all right. Well, about 2 hours and 15 minutes here. I guess we can shut it
No
down.
shorter than the Oscars.
Yeah. By a
If you sat through
significant
that.
amount. Yeah. So if you made it this far, thanks so much. And since you've already listened to all this time, why not just take an extra couple seconds and give us a rating? You can do that on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And then if you have an extra couple seconds, you could write us a nice review. And then also make sure that you're following us. Our YouTube is a little stagnant right now because of our technology issues, but we're hoping to get that back up and going soon. So please don't forget about us there. And yeah, we just really appreciate you listening, and we will see you next week.